Sige, let's move on with the latter part of today's event, which is covering practical applications of blockchain. So thank you Sir Tolali, my senpai, para sa nakakabusog na Blockchain 101. Grabe yung information na inihandog sa atin ni Sir Tolali. So, ngayon na alam na natin kung ano ba talaga yung blockchain or ano yung ginagawa with blockchain, let's move on sa next segment, which is applying the knowledge that we've learned or yung inihandog sa atin. So, pero bago yun, let's siguro recap para ma-consolidate yung info na nakuha natin kay Sir Tolali. So, ulitin ko lang ulit or parang echo ko lang yung sinabi niya na blockchain is a decentralized distributed ledger technology. So, para siyang sort of database with a specific architecture with transparency and tamper-proofness in mind. So, it operates without a central authority, sabi nga kanina, with the added feature of siguro beefed up security kasi it uses cryptographic security. So parang encryptions, mas sarili siyang robust encryptions, as they say. Along with an added extra layer of security, which is consensus mechanisms wherein not a single authority can single-handedly dictate or decide anong data yung i-accept ng network. So may tinatawag na yun nga, sabi kanina, merong nodes. So the network works collectively to agree or parang verify which data is true or parang acceptable or let's say universally true. Ganun. So, recap natin or i-echo natin yung key features ng blockchain na nakita natin kanina. So, as a review, number one, syempre, decentralization. Hindi siya dependent on one single authority. So, if one authority goes down, meron pang iba. So, hindi nagkakagulo or sumasabog yung network. Compared sa central network wherein may single central node or authority, prone to collapse siya once na nawala yung central authority na yun. So mas reliable siya in terms of other networks or architectures because of its decentralization identity. Next is immutability. Yun nga, sabi kanina, append-only database siya. So lahat ng data na nandun, hindi siya pwedeng pakialaman. Cannot be altered, deleted, or ayun nga, hindi siya pwedeng mawala. As long as it's there forever. Next is transparency. So transactions are visible by all participants in the network. Next is yung robust security, then yung consensus mechanisms wherein not a single parang person can decide what's true or what's universally true. Or ganun. So the community or everyone in the network, all the participants has to agree or accept the data as true before it is considered universally true. So parang ganun yung concept ng consensus mechanisms. So dun tayo review natin yung paano ba gumagana si blockchain. So first, yun nga, transaction initiation, sending cryptocurrency, for example, or recording a smart contract, or parang fulfilling a smart contract, rather. Next is verification by nodes. Yun yung sinasabi ko kanina na everyone or parang more than one participant gets to has the authority to validate whether the sent data or yung transaction na initiate can be accepted as universally true. So it has to be parang lahat kailangan i-accept na okay, this information is universally true or parang is true before the information can be considered as universally true. Next is block creation, yun na nga, after approving or let's say okay na, goods na yung data, everyone has certified its integrity that it's true. Yun na doon napapasok yung block creation na binanggit ni Sir Tolali kanina, wherein the data or the blocks as they call it are connected via hashes. Then adding it to the chain, then once it's added to the chain, permanent record na siya, immutable data. So, siguro para sa later on, sana once we've opened the floor for questions, sana magkaroon tayo ng parang mini CATF, Capstone Thesis Forum, wherein, tawag doon, you could ask questions regarding your projects, kung saan pwede i-insert si blockchain doon. So, yun, hopefully may mga tanong kayong ganun kasi nagpa-prayer house mga ganun. So, para magkakaroon ng mini consultation, I'm open to that. So, for that sake or that discussion's sake, let's go to discussion types of blockchain na pwede nating i-employ. First, yung public blockchain. And yung something that we might all be familiar with or parang mas madali, mas well known compared to other types kasi yun nga, it's public, it's open to anyone. So yung mga big names na naririnig nyo, Bitcoin, Ethereum, what else? Solana, Sui, Aptos. Yan, those are examples of public blockchains that everyone, the open public or the general public can participate in. Next is private blockchains. So sa private blockchains, by the term itself or the term that describes it, it's private. So restricted access, usually within organizations, for example, si NU. So si NU may sarili siyang network that only NU stakeholders can access or has access to. For example, let's say Wi-Fi network. Restricted access siya to outsiders via their security. So, private network siya. Ito naman, ganoon din with blockchain, private network siya wherein only a few people have specific access. So, may sariling mundo, parang ganun. Next is a consortium blockchain wherein para siyang aggregate ng private blockchains wherein hindi lang single organizations yung may access but rather a group of organization has access. So parang kunwari may mga organizations na gusto mag-collaborate pero ayaw nilang maging open to the general public yung data or transactions within the blockchain, diyan papasok si consortium blockchain. Next is a hybrid blockchain. So combines elements of public and private blockchains wherein certain transactions can only be viewed by the general public pero all of the transactions are available internally. So yun yung mga types of blockchains that we could use or employ sa mga projects natin depending on the requirement of the project. Siguro in terms of level of difficulty, public blockchain ang pinakamadali kasi meron na silang documents, yung white paper na tinatawag kanina, that is available to anyone. Tsaka meron na ring mga communities of developers and for support. So if ever na balak natin mag-develop later on or mag-implement ng blockchain architecture sa projects natin, yan, let's go out and seek public blockchains kasi yan yung mga available na may documentation na. So parang beginner friendly, let's say. So let's go with some examples of real world uses ng current real world uses ng blockchain. So pinaka-common, naririnig ng lahat. Yan, laging nalalabelan tuloy ng scam si blockchain kasi nga dahil sa tinatawag na cryptocurrencies. So, same with fiat currency, yung pang-araw-araw na binabayad natin, let's say, yung peso, coins, yung peso bills, in digitalized form siguro sa GCash, yun yung mga usual na e-wallets. Pero this time, except na single digital entity lang siya like GCash, Maya, ginawa siyang cryptocurrencies wherein naging decentralized yung system. So, yun, isa sa mga example ng cryptocurrencies, yung madalas natin naririnig, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, or yung mga native tokens ng mga networks. So, those are types of cryptocurrencies. Next is smart contracts for automated agreements. So, smart contracts are basically digital contracts that are programmed for automation. So, syempre, in real life, in real world, lahat ng transactions merong, or siguro, general transactions when it comes to business, merong contracts or contract agreements between two parties. So, syempre sa contracts, meron siyang requirements to fulfill on both sides. So, parang si party A, kailangan ganito yung has to produce this requirements. Party B has to produce and fulfill these requirements, ganun. Tapos pag na-fulfill na lahat, we would go on with the transaction. So, ganun din with smart contracts or digitalized contracts. Nakaprogram yung requirements tsaka yung fulfilling nung requirement. So, pag, okay, automatically madedetect na na-fulfill na itong requirement, okay, go now with the transaction or dun sa magiging parang, let's say, trade. Yun yung common eh. Next is supply chain management for tracking goods. So meron ng mga application yan in real world, they use blockchain. Pero on the side of insurance, kasi sa supply chain, marami yan. Pag sinabi mong supply chain management, yung logistics of goods or kung paano, parang delivery of goods in general, paano umiikot yung goods from, let's say, manufacturer to end users, ganun. So somewhere in the process, meron na siyang application doon. Isa sa mga application na yun are common, parang sa mga up and coming applications is yung sa insurance, sa cold chain products, let's say. When you say cold chain products, anything that needs to be stored in a cold room or parang may temperature requirement, kailangan laging nasa malamig. So for example, medicines, vaccines, pasok din dun yung mga ice cream, frozen meats. So those are examples of cold chain products na kailangan needs to be set at a certain temperature all the time because of the nature of the products. For example, vaccines, kailangan nasa -5 degrees lang siya. Kapag naalis siya sa environment na yun or doon sa storage na yun with that specific requirement, the vaccine goes bad or it becomes unusable. So it poses a threat na dahil lang hindi siya na-store ng properly. So isa sa mga pwedeng pasukan ng blockchain application doon is the insurance or the assurance na, okay, the vaccine has stayed in this environment for this duration of delivery, ganun. So parang sa loob ng container, merong mga sensors. So sensors forwards temperature data to an API. Tapos nilalagay niya sa blockchain yung mga temperature readings dun sa loob ng storage. So to say that parang kumbaga yung nagde-deliver, masasabi na, oh, nasa blockchain. Sabi dito sa data namin na nasa blockchain, yung storage namin consistently at -5 degrees. So hindi nyo masisisi kami na okay, pangit na yung vaccine or the vaccines went bad because of proper handling. Kasi meron kaming data that says, immutable data that says that it was kept in good condition throughout the delivery. So isa yun sa mga application ng for goods tracking sa supply chain management. Next is healthcare for secure patient records. Siguro dive in tayo dyan kasi pag sinabi mo records, ang dami niyan, lalo na sa healthcare. Next is voting systems. Yan, isa sa mga siguro gas-gas na example na kasi sabi nga ni Sir Talali kanina, pwede mong maipapasok sa blockchain at any project talaga basically, pero doesn't mean na pwede mong pasok ay practical siya or ideal. So sa voting system, nagkataon lang na practical and ideal siya because it ensures na walang dayaan, let's say, dayaan dun sa magiging voting process. Kasi lahat on-chain, viewable ng public yung records and transactions. Although syempre may layer of data privacy yan. Pero if needed, madaling ma-access lahat ng transactions. Nasa ano siya, tamper-proof ledger that everyone can track and audit on their own. So in that way, the entire system or everyone is assured that tama yung vote counts. Mataas yung confidence rate nila kasi nga kung saan natin hinold yung voting, in a secure environment siya wherein integrity is guaranteed because of the architecture of the system. So yan, kasi gas-gas na example na yan. Pag sinabi mo, ano bang pwedeng pagpasukan ng blockchain? Voting system. Kasi ang isa sa mga requirement ng voting system, integrity talaga. And blockchain delivers exactly that, integrity dun sa data. So ayun na nga, si Sir Tali nagbigay na ng mga examples kanina dyan, pero siguro let's dive deeper. So saan nga ba natin papasok si blockchain, where to insert? So isa lang talaga yung ano niyan primary. I mean, siguro lahat, sabi ko nga, pwede niyong pasukan ng blockchain kasi basically it's just a database. Pero ang architecture na is it's an append-only database. So hindi porket, I mean, lahat naman ng software apps or any software or any application uses some sort of data storage or database. So hindi porket may database, pwede na gawing blockchain yan. Siyempre, iisipin natin kung practical ba, kung requirement ba siya na dapat maging blockchain. So paano ba natin masasagot kung requirement ba si blockchain or parang good fit si blockchain ilagay sa project natin compared to the standard databases na ginagamit natin. So basically, kung ang requirement ng project ay data integrity and transparency. So anything, yun nga sabi ni Sir Talali kanina, any sensitive data that needs to be tamper-proof or that needs to have 100% integrity. Yung parang sure na sure tayo na hindi siya na-tamper, hindi siya napalitan, hindi siya na-edit, or hindi siya matatabunan, matatakpan, or maitatago. So anything that needs exactly that, integrity and transparency, pwede natin pasukan ng blockchain. So for example, meron tayong mga industries dito na nilagay ko na pwede nating pasukan ng blockchain. So yan, first, yan, na example ko na kanina, supply chain management. Medyo nag-yap ako na mahaba doon sa paspas dapat. Pero siguro let's dive deeper dito sa transparency and traceability. So yun nga, kanina ang example ko, integrity ng goods. So para siyang insurance-wise, para for insurance claims, parang in-insure na natin na goods yung integrity ng okay or parang 100% yung integrity ng products na deliver. Dito naman, siguro isa sa mga magiging example ko is, sabi nito, tracks product origins and movement. So, syempre sa supply chain management, yung logistics yan, yung delivery time. So, may mga suppliers or may mga clients na ang supply of goods or parang yung movement goods are time sensitive. So, iba kailangan bawal malate, or yung iba masyadong maaga tapos hindi pa ready mag-receive yung warehouse, gano'n. So isa sa mga puwede nating paglagyan ng blockchain kasi yung iba kasi diyan sa supply chain, may penalty for example 'pag late dumating yung product. For example, ako manufacturer, kailangan ko 'tong materyales by Monday kasi may hinahabol akong deadline. Sabi ni supplier, "Okey po, made-deliver natin 'yan by Monday morning." So yun pa lang yung transaction na yun or yung contract na yun i-a-append natin sa blockchain. So sabi ni supplier Monday morning, made-deliver. Sabi ni manufacturer Monday morning ko kailangan yan. So andun na yung contract, andun na yung usapan. So pwede natin gawan ng smart contract yun. Ngayon, dumating si supplier ng late. Monday kailangan, pero Tuesday siya dumating. Ngayon, ah medyo si supplier, wala siyang ethics, let's say. Sinabi niya, "Ay hindi po, parang Tuesday pa yung usapan natin, pasok sa usapan 'yan." So parang kini-claim niya pa, gina-gaslight niya pa si supplier, ay si manufacturer, yung pagde-deliver niya. Pero si manufacturer, buti na lang, nag-apply ng blockchain tech. Nilagay niya sa enclosed within a smart contract yung usapan nila, tapos naka-append sa blockchain. So ngayon, itong si supplier, hindi niya na makokontra si manufacturer na, "Okay, hindi Monday po yung pinag-usapan natin, Tuesday talaga." Kasi nasa blockchain yung usapan. So sa blockchain nga, 'pag sinabi nating blockchain or naka-append yung data sa blockchain, it's immutable. Nandun na siya permanently, hindi mo makokontra because it's tamper-proof. So yun, isa sa mga possible application is insurance talaga. Kasi minsan sa supply chain malaki yung penalty kapag nile-late yung goods, eh, umaabot ng millions of pesos talaga. So next is, anti-counterfeiting. So yun nga, verification ng authenticity ng products. So instead of having, paper certificates that could be forgeable, ah, meron puwede tayong mag-append dun sa blockchain natin ng data natin instead of relying on paper. Or parang digital databases na merong CRUD or yung CRUD na tinatawag, yung puwedeng i-edit, puwedeng palitan. 'Pag nilagay natin yung parang details for, authenticity verification tsaka recording sa blockchain, yun hindi na siya ano na siya, immutable. So yung tracking ng kung asan na ba yung authentic goods na 'to, kung saan siya napunta. So mabe-verify ng both supplier and end user or parang customer yung integrity ng product. For example, bang shoes, 'di ba? Isa sa mga, ah, any sneakerheads here, yung mga authenticity ng shoes, yung iba class A, yung iba legit, gano'n. So, sa ngayon wala pa siyang ano talaga, parang pinaka-tracker kung, legit ba yung shoes, 'di ba? So, although meron ng mga existing apps, pero none as robust 'pag nilagyan natin ng blockchain application. So same with, pharmaceuticals, siyempre may mga umiikot din may mga noise around it na merong mga fake medicines, mga tablets, gano'n. So ang added benefits niyan is of course efficiency. So yun nga, it reduces paperwork tsaka manual record keeping kasi nasa blockchain na lahat. So in a single chain, dun na lang lahat magve-verify sa isang network. So moving on with that is yun nga, transitioning from that is pasok tayo sa healthcare industry. So next is, medical records management. So yung patient data. So sa mga sakitin dito for sure, alam nila 'tong process nila na, upon checking in with the clinic or hospital, ah, the hospital retrieves their data. Yung iba paper pa, nakalagay within an envelope. Pero sa mga high-end hospitals meron na silang apps, software for that, for tracking your patient data na nakalagay sa iisang database. So, pwede natin pasok dun yung blockchain, let's say. Kasi pag sinabi mong data, dun lang siya sa loob ng hospital meron kung saan ka pumunta. So, for example, sa ibang hospital ka napunta, 'di ba? Kailangan pa nilang matagal yung proseso ng yung communication between retrieving data. Wherein at least kung nasa blockchain na siya, mabilis na nilang ma-review at ma-verify yung integrity nung data mo as a patient. So, added efficiency siya sa mga ganun. Next is drug traceability. Prevents, ay, nadaanan natin siya sa supply management. Pero siguro ang may apply ko dyan is yung reseta ng mga for medicines. So instead of having to rely on paper, kasi sa ngayon ng mga reseta, either although meron ng digitalized, parang screenshots lang ng images na ginawa ng doctor. Traditionally or parang nagde-depend pa rin tayo dun sa traditional method wherein yung doktor magsusulat ng reseta tapos dadalhin sa pharmacy. Pero pwede nating pasukan ng blockchain yun. So instead of having to bring your receipt or rely on ano itong English ng reseta, basta yun. Instead of having to rely on paper, pwede tayong gumawa ng system wherein the pharmacy can verify the doctor's order. Na okay, ito yung mga nakaresetang gamot sa akin as a patient, you can verify it sa blockchain. So parang napabilis at naging mas efficient yung data integrity checking kasi nga nasa blockchain siya. No? Once in-append ni doctor, hindi na magdududa si pharmacy na gamot mo ba talaga to? Or parang inireseta ba talaga sa ni doctor? Why? Kasi nasa blockchain siya. It's tamper-proof. So ako as a patient, hindi ko pwedeng pakialaman na okay, binigyan ako ng doc parang inireseta sa akin ng doc na ganito kadami yung gamot na bibilin ko. Diba? Hindi ko pwede gawin yun. Kasi nga, yung sinabi ni doctor na kailangan ko lang na gamot, ay ito lang. At nilagay niya sa blockchain. So kung ano yung sinabi ni doctor at nilagay niya sa blockchain, yun lang din yung titingnan at bibigay sa ni pharmacist. So, ayun nga, isa sa mga way yun of preventing, tawag doon, malicious intent when it comes to getting medicine. Hindi mo ma-fake yung reseta. So next is clinical trials and enhances transparency in research data. Yan napaka-niche, so I don't think we can should go into it. Pero if you're interested, you can ask questions later down the line. Next is real estate. So, yun nga, syempre real estate, usapang bahay at lupa. So, property ownership and transfers reduces fraud and speeds up transactions. Kasi sa ngayon ang sistema, papel pa rin. You'd have to file everything sa local government. Kailangan ng verification sa titles and everything else. Whereas, pag nilagay natin siya sa blockchain, syempre, actually lahat naman, pag digitalize mo, mas mapabilis. Pero when it comes to real estate, mas madaling ma-verify na tama yung mga items dun sa mga requirements, yung mga titulo, ganun. Kasi all verifiable on blockchain. So pag nasa blockchain siya, insured ka talaga na yung integrity nung ownership mo of that house is true. Kasi universally accepted na siya by validators or everyone participating in the network. So wala na yung hassle pa or na parang mahabang proseso for verification of ownership. May iwasan na rin natin yung mga scams when it comes to real estate transactions kasi meron na tayong tamper-proof digital ledgers of everything that's going on within the real estate industry. Well, that is if ma-implement ang blockchain when it comes to real estate sales. So yan, isa sa mga pwedeng application, real estate. Next is smart contracts for rentals. So dito papasok siguro, although automated na siya, galing ng app ng Airbnb. Siguro smart contract for rentals, sabi ko. Siguro bago yun, let's recap ano bang smart contracts. So smart contracts are basically digital contracts that is programmable. So dito pwede nating automate yung transactions when it comes to renting, siguro, yun nga, renting properties. So, syempre, ang usual agreement niyan, merong agreement between, tawag doon yung magre-rent and yung nagpapa-rent. So, dito naman sa blockchain, we can automate that through the use of smart contracts. So, For example, yung magpapa-rent, lalagay niya lang sa smart contract na, okay, this is what I require of those who would be using my property. So yun, pag okay goods lahat ng requirements, automatic na mabibigay yung permission dun kay renter. And all on-chain siya. Clarify ko lang pala yung term na on-chain. When you say on-chain, parang industry term siya to say that the data is naka-append or parang nilagay sa blockchain. So parang on-chained, ganun. So wala, yun nga. Speaking of it, lahat ng data on-chain na. So less hassle for both sides, both parties. Tsaka when it comes to insurance claims, tsaka tawag dito, verification ng state ng property, at least meron tayong immutable record of everything that they have, or parang everything that is within the contract. Lahat ng agreements nasa isang verifiable entity, which is yung smart contract na sinasabi natin. So next is a tokenized real estate. So enables fractional ownership of properties. So dito parang naisip ko lang is gagawa ng NFTs or parang sort of tokens para mas madaling ma-market yung mga properties. So if you're all familiar with ERC-721 tokens, so yun yung mga typical na or parang typical protocol for creating NFTs. So pag for example, tokenize natin yung property ownership data mo. So yung parang yung title of ownerships, lahat, ilalagay sa isang token wherein parang, for example, you're marketing this certain type of property. So para mabilisan, bibigay mo na lang yung token of ownership mo dun sa kung kanino interested or dun sa marketing audience mo. So, okay, ito yung token of ownership ko. You can verify this on-chain. Uh, So once na dinanap mo yun, 100% confidence rate na si interested buyer na okay sa kanya nga itong property na 'to. Kasi nasa kanya yung token, eh. So parang gano'n. So parang it speeds up basically the process of exchanges when it comes to real estate conversations. Next is yan nga, yan voting systems. Napaspasan na natin kanina, pero sige daanan natin ulit. Next, so sabi ko nga kanina, saan ba pinapasok si blockchain? Anywhere na needed ang data integrity and transparency. At pasok na pasok si voting system of course kasi yun talaga yung primary requirement when it comes to voting systems. Data integrity and transparency. So yan, tamper-proof elections ensures secure and transparent voting process. Remote voting. Uh, Pwede na nating i-ditch yung paper ballots or let's say yun nga, uh, having to rely on paper and manually counting votes from paper records. So, kunyari, yung mga papel from Mindanao, kailangan pang ilipad all the way to Luzon. So, yung logistic costs pa lang nun, time delays, and human error, for example, nawala yung vote ballots from Mindanao. Parang nahulog sa dagat nung during shipping, di ba? Isa yun sa mga human errors or parang natural disasters na, I would say, or considerable as natural disaster, di ba? So, wala na, sayang, wala na yung mga boto. Pero in this case, if ever na ma-implement si blockchain when it comes to voting systems, accessible na ang voting or parang mas robust yung reliability. We don't have to depend on paper anymore. May eliminate natin yung mga ganong klaseng risks. Pwede natin siyang diretso na, okay, mag-vote lang ako from Mindanao, Wi-Fi connection lang kailangan, tapos na-on-chain na yung, let's say, vote record niya. Wala nang iisipin pa yung, let's say, the population or the voting body na, hala, yung vote niya nawawala, paano na integrity ng election natin, di ba? Wala nang ganong risks or worries when it comes to implementing on-chain voting systems. Next is auditability. Yan, numero uno. Provides a verifiable trail of votes. So, yun nga. Kasi sa atin, pag nawala na yung papel, wala na. Wala na yung boto. Kasi yun yung primary way of verifying your vote. Kasi it's on paper. Let's say, um, diba, digitalized na sa. So, sinascan yung paper ballot mo, then ina-append sa isang database for vote tracking. Pero yung recount or parang yung double check na sinasabi, to double check the count of the votes na binasa through the machine, binabasa isa-isa yung paper ballots. So, in this case, pwede mo na siyang i-verify yung trail of votes or yung vote record without having to go through paper. Kasi once it's on-chain, assure ka na, okay, ito yung boto ko, nilagay ko sa blockchain. Hindi mo na, wala nang no one can edit, delete, or hide your vote. Kasi, yun nga, it's on-chain. Lagi, it all points to that, eh. It's on-chain. Once na nandun na yung data, once it's on-chain, ano na siya, no one can, tawag dito, wala nang makakakontra. It's there, it's immutable, it's there forever, yung confidence rate ng integrity ng data is 100% kasi because of the nature of the blockchain architecture. It's append only, tamper proof, and secure. So hindi na tayo mag-aalala na okay, yung database na hack, na edit, lahat ng votes points to this certain candidate, diba? So yun nga, it eliminates all the worries and noise na when it comes to voting systems. So next is intellectual property rights and digital rights. First, siguro, copyright protection ensures fair compensation for artists and creators. Meron ng robust system na nakaset up for this, but can be optimized with the use of blockchain. Kasi although meron ng, di ba, meron ng mga patent IDs na pwedeng i-search ng mga students, lalo na when it comes to doing your research. Of course, meron yung RRL, related literature, and ano, for sure, isa sa mga capstones or parang thesis processes is having to research yung patent work na sinasabi. You have to search for relative patents dun sa iniisip mong design and product. Dito, meron na tayong, at least sa blockchain, mas madaling mag-verify ng, let's say, patent IDs. Kasi dito, hindi centralized body sa ngayon yung ano eh. Meron tayong IPOPHIL, pero that's only for the Philippines. So, kailangan mo pang pumunta dun sa record or database ng, let's say, for example, yung patent sa US in-apply. So, doon ka pa sa database nila magsa-search. Diba? So, hassle siya. So, dito at least, pag nalagay mo sa blockchain, on-chain, is single network. Lahat ng patents, applications, industrial designs, consolidated in a single network. But at the same time, decentralized siya, wherein pag sinabi mong, okay, na-down yung database ni Philippines, okay lang. Kasi yung ibang meron silang copy because may yung ibang tawag dito, offices may copy nung Philippine database because on-chain yung data ni Philippines. So yun nga, once it's on-chain, it's decentralized, hindi siya nagre-rely sa a single entity. So dito, pwede rin pumasok yung tokenization ng patent ID. So yun, if we're all familiar with NFTs, ERC-721 tokens, ERC-721 tokens are unique digital assets of ownership. So kanina, nilagay ko siya sa real estate. So parang tokenizing proof of ownership. Dito naman, same concept. Yung mga patent holders, meron silang sariling token nila that shows or verifies ownership of the patent. So isa yun sa mga pwede nating i-apply. Tokenization ng patent ownership. So, pwede na natin pasukan yun ng smart contracts wherein automated yung pagtanggap nila ng royalties. Kasi syempre, once na ginagamit or ni-utilize yung patents mo by other people, for sure, isa sa mga agreements nan is royalty or parang you have to pay a certain amount of money to have the rights to use that product or parang whatever is encapsulated within your patent. So, sa smart contracts, pwede nating i-automate yung mga ganun transactions by digitally programming yung requirements and yung fulfilling ng transactions. So, yun nga, smart contracts are just basically a convenient way of automation ng transactions. So, yan, next is education and credentials. Sa mga nabanggit ni Sir Talali kanina na education credentials. So for example, yung grades mo, Form 137 or parang Certificate of Accomplishments, lahat ng records na hawak ni school, kailangan pa nating, for example, i-request kay registrar. For example, kailangan kong magpasa ng requirements na 'to sa company na 'to kasi requirement nila. Pupunta ako kay registrar, request ko yung documents, I'd have to wait a few days, gano'n. Bago ko makuha yung paper documents, siyempre kailangan paper kasi na galing sa registrar to prove that it's 100% authentic. Pero dito, kung i-on-chain mo lahat ng data, lahat ng credentials and data mo as a student, hindi mo na kailangan mag-rely on paper. Kasi for example, si university ang nag-on-chain ng data mo. Okay, ito po yung grades niya, ito po yung certification of accomplishment, graduate po siya from this university, i-on-chain niya ni university lahat ng data. So hindi mo na kailangan pumunta kay university to request the paper trail ng records mo. So wala na yung punta kay registrar, pila ka, bayad ka for the tawag doon, paper trail or paper records nung achievements and credentials mo, kailangan mo na lang nung transaction hash or parang address kung saan nakalagay sa chain yung credentials mo. So yun na lang ifo-forward mo for example kay company na gusto mong applyan na okay, ito po yung certificates ko, certificate of na graduate ako dito. Ito yung ano pa bang mga madalas na ano, ito po yung good moral ko, ganun. So dito po siya nakakolocate sa chain ni university. So para siyang digital immutable record that ensures 100% authenticity ng record mo. But except of having to rely on paper, accessible na siya digitally by the employer na pupuntahan mo. So ano siya, convenient three-way. Three-way yung convenience na both for the university, both for students, and both for the employer. Kasi lahat mapa-validate na sa isang single network. So yung pagpasa na lang ng data, wala na. It doesn't have to go to through paper, then through logistics, dadala mo sa employer, di ba? It eliminates a lot of needless processes once it's digitized and on-chain. Next is decentralized platforms and enables transparent course records. Yun nga yung example kanina na siguro yung mga quizzes or parang submission ng ano ng requirements by students, yung 12 AM yung deadline pero hindi pa tapos. So link na lang yung pinasa tapos sa link na lang ilalagay pagtapos niya ano. So ayan, siguro pag na on-chain to wala na, hindi na natin magagamit yung pinagbabawal ng technique na yun. Kasi nga on-chain na okay, yung pinasa niya link lang tapos wala pang data. So isa siya sa way to ensure academic integrity, let's say, para ganun. Next is micro-credentials and track skills development and training history. So pasok na rin yan dun sa sinasabi ko kanina ng verifiable diplomas and certifications except yun nga, yung mga for example, na-achieve natin within courseworks or certain seminars within the university, kasama na rin dun sa record na ano natin on-chain. So for example, pag nawala mo yung paper certificate mo for this webinar, you wouldn't have to worry kasi meron kang on-chain record na always available. So ayun, education and credentials. Next is insurance. So siguro pahapyawan natin paano ba gumagana ang insurance industry. So sa insurance industry kasi they would have to insure. So for example, isip ako ng pinaka-relatable na situation or parang specific niche sa industry. Siguro healthcare insurance. Let's say sa mga nagpapa-dialysis. Kasi sa mga dialysis centers or dialysis patients, ano yun eh, yung dialysis sessions nila, it happens, depende sa patient, pero mostly 2 times or 3 times a week. So for those patients na dependent on PhilHealth to subsidize their dialysis sessions, kasi mahal ang dialysis sessions eh. So maaabot siya ng thousands. For example, siguro sa isang session, depende sa ano sa dialysis center, pero it can range from 10K to 50K depende sa patient, depende sa medication, depende sa treatment. Pero siguro at the minimum 10K ay 5 to 10K per session. So ganun siya kamahal ang isang dialysis session. Pasok na yan siguro kasama yung mga medicines. I can tell kasi I think I've worked as a part-time PhilHealth insurance claims para sa isang dialysis center back when I was younger. So nag-part-time ako doon. I know the insurance process of having to claim your insurance kay PhilHealth. So every time na meron dialysis sessions, they would have to apply for their claim dun sa insurance nila with PhilHealth. So they'd have to fill up paper forms each and every time. Tapos kailangan ma-approve ni PhilHealth yung claim na yon bago sila makapag-start ng session. Or siguro during sessions, depende sa leniency ng dialysis center. Pero yun nga, napaka-repetitive ng process na kailangan na lang mag-fill up ng paper forms, kailangan i-approve ni admin, kailangan ipasa ni admin kay PhilHealth. PhilHealth has to respond na okay, insurance claim approved, 'di ba? Para lang just to get their subsidy from PhilHealth. So the whole process takes a few hours. So parang hindi pa tapos mag dialysis si patient, hindi pa na-approve yung claim niya. May mga instances na gano'n. Pero mostly, although hindi naman siya as common as we'd think, but it happens. So isa yun sa mga parang something that needs to be fixed, yung insurance claiming. We need to siguro ang sa mga possible solution diyan is yung smart contracts. So sabi ko nga kanina, smart contracts are just basically digitized contracts that are programmable. So in this case, instead of having to yun nga, fill up paper each and every time na magda-dialysis si patient just to get their subsidy. Since meron na naman silang existing record na okay, I'm a dialysis patient, ito yung history ko, naka-on-chain, the smart contract could just refer to their record. Parang automatic na yung pag-feed ng real-time data dun sa contract. And automatic na yung pag-verify na, okay, this person is dialysis patient nga. Meron siyang existing records. Okay, sige, release na natin yung subsidy niya. So instead of having to rely on manual processes and manual labor processes, pwede na natin i-automate yung verification processes ng pag-distribute ng subsidy or ng insurance claims for patients needing treatment talaga. So, sa mga benefits nun is yung convenience. Dialysis patients no longer have to file tons of paperwork just to get treatment. Next is the admin sides. It saves them time kasi processing claims are no joke. For example, dialysis center ka. So in a day, depende sa size ng dialysis center, pero yung kung saan ako nag-work, ang patients nila a day can range from 40 to 60 a day. So imagine having to claim or parang file insurance claims for 40 to 60 patients a day. So in a week, medyo malaki yung paper stack na aasikasuhin mo. So at least doon, it eliminates a lot of manual labor and yun nga, manual processes na mabagal. At least when it comes to claiming insurance claims, kasi for example, sa insurance claims, ang habol dyan talaga yung integrity or data integrity nung nagka-claim na ang verify nila, dialysis patient ka ba talaga? Kailangan mo ba talaga tong gamot na to? Ito ba talaga yung nakareseta sa ng gamot sa'yo for doctor? Bago nila bayaran lahat ng gusto mong ipasubsidize with the insurance provider. So at least doon, kapag meron na tayong readily available documents na 100% yung confidence rate ng integrity ng data, it would speed up the entire processes. Wala nang doubts or parang additional layers of verification para lang to get the treatment that you deserve or the claim that you deserve from the insurance provider. So that's possible through smart contracts and on-chain data. So yun nga, next is yung fraud prevention, verifiable policy holder na okay, policy holder ka ba? Tawag dito? Eligible ka ba talaga for this kind of claim that you'd want to claim sa insurance policy mo? So yun nga, it speeds up verification. It eliminates tawag dito? Let's say redundant layers for verification. So next is sa mga pwedeng pasukan ng blockchain is parametric insurance. So parametric insurance is basically automated claiming ng insurance from insurance provider. So meron ng existing record, tapos once na na-verify na within the system, it automatically gives the subsidy na hinihingi mo based on real-time data. Pero it can be faster by the use of on-chain data. Kasi sa parametric insurance, parang you'd have to trigger certain specific events para lang ma-trigger yung payout mo. Ganun yung automation na tawag dito, automation architecture ng parametric insurance. Pero in this case, meron pa rin siyang lapses because of, yun nga, additional layers of verification. Parang hindi naman pwedeng i-automate fully yung process. Kailangan syempre meron pa rin human input. Kasi nga, the data can be bad. Kailangan pa rin i-ensure yung integrity ng data na i-feed natin dun sa automation process. Pero if naka-on-chain yung data, and madalas naman ginagamit yung data na yun, pwede na natin ilagay sa blockchain yun. So we'd have to skip. Yun nga, doon tayo bumabalik skipping tawag dito, layers of verification. Just because of dun sa nature or parang architecture ng database natin, which is blockchain. So wala nang pagdududa dun sa data. So it eliminates the worries of having bad data or parang fraudulent or malicious data, ganun. Wala nang ganun. Kasi once na on-chain na yung good data, uh, we can easily rely on that data. Kasi nga, once it is there, hindi na siya na-edit. Wala nang, no malicious threat actor can touch your data, rendering it as, invalid data. So, yung mga drinap kong use cases or possible insertions ng blockchain sa industries, medyo seryoso or heavy, more on the parang business side talaga. So, i-introduce ko to sa inyo si Celio. So, hindi siya economic, hindi siya pasok sa mga industries na nilagay natin. More on para siyang added gimmick, but parang delivers convenience sa mga magiging end users niya. So ano ba si Stelio? So introduce ko sa inyo sa Stelio. So si Stelio, isa siyang parang hackathon project ng mga gumawa nitong project. Parang trip-trip lang na project. Tapos nagkataon, yung project na to, pinasok nila sa isang global hackathon. So search nyo na lang later on, Solana Radar Hackathon. So si Celio nanalo siya sa isang global hackathon. So ano bang ginagawa ni Zelda? Ano ba 'tong platform na 'to? Ano bang system na ginawa nila? So gano'n din, sa mga binanggit kong examples kanina, makikita natin yung trend na it eliminates the hassle of paperwork. Eliminates the hassles of having to fill up forms for transactions, for engagements, for exchanges, gano'n, through the use of NFC cards and blockchain technology. So, let's go through Celsius platform. Bigyan ko kayo ng parang platform walkthrough. So first, magre-register yung mga users ni Celio. So attendees, parang si Celio kasi for events siya. So it's marketed for event organizers and event attendees. So sa mga frequent flyers dito or parang madalas pumunta ng mga events. For example, itong webinar na to, event siya. Merong Luma link, then you'd have to register, diba? Buti na lang, ang gamit nitong event is Luma. So, hats off to the organizers of this event na Luma ang gamit. Meron silang one-tap feature or one-click register para sa event na to. Wherein na meron kang existing account, tapos i-click mo na lang, automatic, registered ka na. So, si platform na ang bahala mag-fill up ng necessary forms or mag-submit ng necessary details to the organizer on your behalf since meron ka ng existing record sa kanila. So sila na bahala mag-scan ng record mo, tapos bigay kay organizers yung data na kailangan nila for registration. So same here with Zelio, na may gagawa ka ng parang record mo, and Zelio uses that existing record to hand it over to the organizers, or any parties that need your data. So siguro first and foremost, first step sa platform is users register online, and their information is used to create a personalized digital profile containing every necessary information for exchanges. So next, users are given an NFC card. which serves as their access pass or interaction tool when it comes to IRL events. So dito, for example, dito sa event na ginanap sa Chain Connect, webinar lang siya, so hindi siya IRL. So NFC cards are unnecessary. Pero for example, merong IRL event sa, let's say, ano bang magandang event? SMX. So ganun. Meron ka ng Cello profile. Nag-register ka na online. So once na nandoon ka na sa event, hindi mo na kailangan mag-register ulit. Bakit? Kasi yung data na hinihingi ni organizer, pwede mo nang iabot or i-hand over through the use of NFC cards or NFC technology. Kasi sa Cello, ang NFC nila is a tawag dito, parang it symbolizes your profile. It's just a physical interface wherein anyone in the network can access your profile. So let's say it's a physical interface to access your profile. It's linked to your physical profile. It's linked to your online profile. But with the use of NFC cards, nagkakaroon tayo ng physical interfaces to reach your profile without the need or parang having to rely on tawag dito, internet connection. So for example, on the day of the event, pwede ka na lang pumasok sa event, then instead of having to scan a QR, instead of having to fill up a paper registration form, itatap na mo na lang yung NFC card mo through Celia scanner. Tapos, yung scanner na mag-scan ng data mo or para magko-collect ng data necessary for that registration and automatically hands it over to the organizers. So instead, totally eliminating the hassle of paper records or recording on paper. So ayun, upon scan confirmation, Stellar system will either log registration information, record ingress or egress times. So upon tapping, automatic na pupunta dun sa registration form lahat ng details na need mong i-hand over with just a single tap of the card. So yun, it eliminates paper registration. Another use case of it is dito na papasok yung parang blockchain or on-chaining ng data. So another use case of Celo is granting the user a digital token. So upon the user tapping their cards on the scanner is configured to generate a digital token on the user's profile. So so yan yung example. Upon tapping the NFC card, automatically generates a digital badge dun sa profile nung user. So ano bang ginagawa nun? Ang use case ganyan or primary use case, siguro narrow ko since I think mostly estudyante yung mga tao dito or my audience rather mostly composed of students. Siguro sa mga application yan is yung certificates. So us students are very parang ano tayo mga certificate hunters ganun. So parang mahilig mag-hunting ng mga certificates for portfolio, for resumes, for CVs, anything to beef up your reputation or your skill sets, ganun. Pero ano bang nangyayari sa mga certificates natin once na, for example, lahat ng digital certificates mo nasa laptop mo. Hindi siya backed up anywhere. Tapos na-break yung laptop mo. For some reason, nag-crash yung SSD or parang na-corrupt yung hard drives, nawala yung backup mo, or nawala yung thumb drive wherein naka-store yung backup mo. At least dito sa Celio, naka-on-chain yung certifications mo. So one added benefit is reliability ng data. So once it's there, kahit ano pang mangyari sa mga physical devices mo, merong on-chain or copy sa blockchain na kahit magkaroon ng natural disasters or any damage to your physical devices, you are assured na merong existing record of your reputation na binubuo mo. Why? Because lahat ng certifications mo, or let's say digital tokens of your certifications are on-chain or rather nasa system ni Celio. So, usable rin yan, for example, gusto mong pakilala sa'yo. So, it's a sort of parang similar to LinkedIn na nandun lahat ng credentials mo. Pero in this case, lahat ng certifications na pinagdaanan mo or everything that you've built or lahat ng reputations, lahat ng experiences, lahat ng certifications na meron ka, lahat ng experiences na meron ka, nakakonsolidate in one single digital profile that's accessible by all with the use of blockchain technology talaga. So once it's there, anyone who views your profile can be assured na, okay, itong mga certifications niya are legit. Hindi niya inedit, hindi niya pineke, hindi niya parang screenshot sa iba tapos pinalitan ng pangalan ng certificate. No, kasi nga ano siya, on-chain by a third body na nag-verify ng mga certifications mo. So your employer or rather any interested parties can easily verify your reputation with the use of the Celdus platform. So isa yun sa mga applications ng blockchain na hindi siya dito industry heavy. So it's relatively a new concept na just developed by students. So isa siyang example na kahit student kayang i-access or parang can make use of blockchain technology and integrated it within their projects. So ayan, Celio. So ayan, advertise ko lang yung siguro support Discord namin or parang yung Discord server na yan, ang mga tao dyan ay mga devs. So it's a community of the blockchain developers within the ecosystem. So for those looking for help for blockchain integration sa projects nila, pasok lang kayo dito sa Discord na to. Send ko yung link later dito sa chat para ma-access ng lahat. Pero feel free to screenshot the link. Parang permalink yan, doesn't expire and walang limits. So feel free to join the Discord and reach out sa mga developers dyan. Lahat ng developers dyan napaka-friendly. So kung meron man kayong concern sa blockchain integration, blockchain development, lahat ng devs sobrang experience. So leverage those connections na ino-offer namin sa inyo or the mentors that are offering. Kasi hindi siya, siguro outside of this event, hindi siya libre. Ganun, let's say, parang ganun na siya. Pero within that Discord server, you'd have access to experienced devs, global hackathon winners, mentors, within the community Discord talaga. At nang libre. So lahat sila friendly dyan. Feel free to ping the developers for any help. So ayun lang. That's all for the practical applications of blockchain technology. So I'll hand over the floor dun sa host natin.